Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping our news today at noon, a 2-alarm fire sends one person to the hospital in Englewood. It happened just before 10 o'clock this morning at an automotive shop on McCall Road. The Englewood Fire Department chief says one person had to be taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. It took crews about 20 minutes to put the fire out.
Heavy smoke and flames coming out of one of the sides as they made entry into the structure. It was an older building with a flat roof construction. They had a lot of flammable contents inside.
No word yet on what caused the fire, but an investigation continues. Florida's school safety bill is now in the hands of Governor Rick Scott. The state house narrowly passed the bill yesterday after the Senate voted on it on Monday. The bill raises the age for purchasing guns, bans the sale of bump stocks, and includes a program to arm some teachers and school staffers. Lawmakers passed the measure in response to the shootings at a high school in Parkland that left 17 people dead. Victims' families support the bill, but Governor Rick Scott has expressed some reservations about the provision that would allow some teachers to carry weapons in schools.
When the bill makes it to my desk, I'm going to take the time, I'm going to read the bill, and I'm going to talk to families.
Now, the bill also provides new mental health programs for schools and a provision to keep guns away from people who show signs of mental illness and violent behavior. Meanwhile, historians and city officials in Parkland are working to save mementos left at memorial sites in the aftermath of the shooting. Gifts are still on display along the fence of the school. Parkland's historian is putting together a plan to collect, archive, and preserve those mementos. School administrators have promised to build a memorial after the building where the shooting took place is demolished. One of the largest high schools in Birmingham, Alabama, closed today following a deadly shooting. Police confirm a person of interest is now in custody. Investigators are trying to piece together the circumstances surrounding the shooting at Huffman High School. A 17-year-old female student was killed and a 17-year-old boy was injured. Police say they have the firearm that was used, but still don't know what caused that shooting. In an effort to make sure Suncoast residents were prepared for an active shooter situation, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office is hosting civilian active shooter training. ABC 7's Marla Spence joins us live from the Sheriff's Office in Bradenton with more on the story today. Marla?
Yes, Scott, that active shooter training for locals is expected to start in about an hour. I'm told that this is one of 3 trainings for this month, and all 3 of those trainings are completely booked. This comes after recent threats to Manatee County schools, as well as tragic shootings across the country. Take a look. This is video of a training similar to the one that will be held this afternoon. Today's class will have close to 40 Suncoast residents where they'll learn how to defend themselves in case of an active shooter. They'll also learn what an active shooter situation is, the mentality of an active shooter, and what their response should be if found in that situation. Although all of those 3 classes are completely booked, all hope is not lost if someone is wanting to prepare for an active shooter situation. The next training will be next month on April 5th. Reporting live in Manatee County, I'm Marla Spence for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Marla, thank you. A Manatee County School Board member is filing a complaint with the Bradenton Police Department after a confrontation with a fellow school board member. Board Chairman Scott Hope says Dave Miner threatened him with his car in the parking lot of the school board building last week after the meeting wrapped up. Hopes and Miner had been arguing during the meeting over the length of time Miner had to speak. Bradenton police confirm a complaint was filed on Wednesday. The incident is now under investigation. Florida is one step closer to ending daylight saving time. A bill to end the twice annual practice of switching the clocks an hour ahead in the spring and an hour back in the fall is now awaiting the governor's signature. Sarasota area Senator Greg Stubbe sponsored the bill, and his local colleague, Bradenton area Senator Bill Galvano, told us on the phone from Tallahassee he thinks an extra hour of evening daylight will be good for the Florida economy.
Businesses being open, people as from a tourist perspective being able to enjoy our Florida environment and communities with additional sunshine.
Even if the governor signs the bill, it still needs congressional approval. Only 2 other states remain on daylight saving time. That's Hawaii and most of Arizona. So this weekend on Sunday night, Sunday morning.
Go to bed Saturday night.
Right.
Clock's back.
Yeah.
Our clock's forward. Spring
forward. We lose that hour of sleep.
2 a.m. So we would not have daylight savings time, and then the rest of the eastern seaboard would? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
I was thinking about it earlier today, about what it would mean for us, and because the TV schedules would change.
Yes.
But we wouldn't. Our times would not.
Right.
So we would have to adjust. So we're still adjusting something.
Interesting.
If it's not our clocks.
It would be very interesting
Yeah.
to see. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. We have across the region a few clouds streaming by from time to time. These are fair weather clouds, not rain producers. A lot more sunshine this afternoon than we saw over the last 24 hours, I think. And as we head into the afternoon, that wind will continue to blow briskly. And it's a dry wind, so consequently a red flag warning is up for most of the state today. Includes all of our area except the extreme coastal regions where we actually have a rip current advisory. So be extra careful with outside flame today. We don't want wildfires to spread, obviously. And the winds are breezy, coming in with gusts in excess of 20, both north and in the southern parts of the viewing area, all along the coastline, really. And it's kind of similar to yesterday. Our daytime highs today will top out on the cool side. You know, we started off the morning pretty much average for this time of year, but we're going to top it off about 10 degrees cooler, 65 degrees or so by 3 p.m. or so. We're going to kind of hold at a temperature throughout the afternoon. We're really not going to warm much, not going to cool much. And then as we head into the evening, we'll start. Actually, that should read 58 degrees at 7 p.m., not 78 degrees. My bad. I'll have to go in and change that. 55 degrees by midnight, and then as you head in toward dawn tomorrow morning, it'll be a cooler morning than it was this morning. By a long shot, we'll be about 15 degrees below average tomorrow morning. A chilly day coming up for us. We'll talk all about that forecast coming up in a few, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. Almost 3 feet of snow fell in Woodford, Vermont. Poor roads, power outages, and frustration up and down the East Coast as the dig out has now begun. Zachary Quiche has more.
Parts of New York and New Jersey getting hit hard. Some areas seeing 28 inches of snow.
You've been stuck on here since 1 o'clock.
3 different interstates shut down. Spun out and stalled cars dotted this stretch of Interstate 280. The unluckiest drivers sat in their vehicles overnight, stranded on the road at a standstill for hours.
Still stranded out here.
The board at LaGuardia Airport telling an equally frustrating story. This is winter at the airport in Philadelphia. More than 3,200 flights in total canceled to this point. And this is teamwork. Northeastern University women's basketball squad pushed themselves out after getting benched by the snow on the campus of St. Joe's in Philly. Trains, not much better.
We got on 611, then the 633, and then they got us off that train, and now here we are.
Passengers trapped for hours at hubs like Grand Central Station.
I'm moving to Florida next week, so this is the last.
And in Wilmington, a train derailment and evacuation. In neighborhoods across the Northeast, downed trees knocked out power, forcing many to battle indoor temps below comfortable levels. And look at this. In Pennsylvania, the Ben Salem Fire Rescue posted this video of a power line exploding. A number of folks along this same stretch still reeling from a storm that came through and knocked out power just days ago, and now news that another nor'easter could come by early next week. Zachary Quiche, ABC News, New York.
All right, that nor'easter is still affecting flights here on the Sun Coast and across the country. If you're flying, make sure you check the status of your flight to see if it's been canceled or delayed today. You can also get instant alerts about severe weather on the Sun Coast or anywhere else in the country by downloading our app. You can find it at your app store by searching for the words WWSB or My Suncoast. Today, a NASCAR driver makes a pit stop here on the Sun Coast to work with Sarasota police officers on bike and pedestrian safety. March is Florida Bicycle Month, and NASCAR driver Scott Lagasse Jr. is teaming up with the Sarasota Police Department for a press conference this afternoon to offer some tips that will help drivers, walkers, and bikers all stay safe on the roads. Police have been working with State Transportation Department since November to enforce traffic laws in 4 specific areas to reduce the number of crashes. Those areas include a stretch of Main Street, Fruitville Road, North Tamiami Trail, and US 301. This weekend, hot air balloons will lift off over Suncoast skies. The Sarasota Balloon Festival begins today, and it runs through Sunday at the Premier Sports Campus at Lakewood Ranch. Along with the balloons, there will be food trucks, carnival rides, and a kids zone. Tethered hot air balloon rides are $20 a person, and they last just a few minutes, but you can get a full flight for $250. The festival will go on, rain or shine, but balloon activity is subject to weather conditions.
We're going to do what's called a night glow every evening. That's where the balloons, they line up and they kind of twinkle like little Christmas lights, and we'll have other maybe 2 or 3 balloons doing tethered rides where you can come out, experience a takeoff and landing in a hot air balloon.
The gates will open each day at 4 p.m. Parking costs $20, and wristbands for unlimited carnival rides will cost $25. In your Suncoast News, yellow pollen is everywhere right now. What you can do to keep the allergies from flaring up. But first, Amelia Earhart's disappearance, the discovery that's shedding new light on a decades-old mystery. Story coming up.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back and affecting your health?
Did you see this? Your cousin had a heart attack.
Really?
Excess weight or obesity can be serious, but you can do something about it. Visit yourweightmatters.org. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC 7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Alex Karras Lincoln's 40th anniversary sale. Please join us in welcoming the 2 newest additions to the Lincoln lineup, our flagship luxury sedan, the 2018 Lincoln Continental, and the totally redesigned 2018 Lincoln Navigator, featuring 450 horsepower, 10-speed transmission, and many best-in-class features. Alex Karras Lincoln, where our mission statement is consistent commitment, every client, every time. Located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
I just had a very educational ride with Nina.
Did you learn anything?
Where do I begin? So all this stuff goes into a safety check.
Yep.
It's a long list.
It's important stuff.
Test the smoke detector.
Yep.
Check the breaker box.
Yep.
Meter the GFCIs.
Ground fault circuit interrupters.
Well, I do that.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Nina, you make it look easy.
Thanks, but don't do it yourself.
Who's your guy?
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC 7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining. Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So the thing is, it's a pretty nice day in terms of, sky, sunshine out there, a few fair weather clouds, pretty. But it's also not as warm as some people might like. I understand that. The temperatures will probably not get much more than a few degrees above where we are right now, and will probably hold there through the afternoon. Winds are also very brisk in places we're seeing, especially near the coastline, gusts that are very high indeed, and a little bit onshore as well, northwest wind. So we've got some rip current issues along the coastlines today. It's a good chance of seeing rip currents develop. But other than that, if you don't mind the cooler air, if you don't mind breezes, this is your kind of weather. 60 degrees in Bradenton, 59 in Parrish, 60 Lakewood Ranch, 61 Sarasota, 62 Venice. Inglewood, you've got 61. Northport, you've got 62. Inland temperatures, tad bit cooler. Still 59 degrees in Wauchula, 61 degrees in Arcadia. This represents about a 10-degree drop in temperature over the last 24 hours, thanks to that frontal boundary that came through. It is going to probably be another 10 to 15 degrees cooler 24 hours from now in the morning, tomorrow morning. We'll probably see temperatures tomorrow morning in the upper 40s, maybe even some mid-40s in inland areas. There could be frost on the ground just to the north of us. That's how chilly it's going to be for this time of year. 61 degrees, the air temperature currently. We have a dew point value so low at 43, but That's not as low as it gets across Florida. Show you that in a minute. It's pretty remarkable how cool the dew points are in some places across Florida at this hour. A northwest wind comes in at about 9. We've got a mix of sun and fair weather clouds out there. So today's planner shows a daytime high of only 4 degrees warmer than we are right now, despite the sunshine that we're going to get, only about 65, because that sunshine has to do battle against that cold air that's sinking southward. So, you know, the compromise is only 4 more degrees of warming before we put a halt to that. And then temperatures start to fall off pretty rapidly into the 50s by the evening. And then as you get into the overnight tomorrow morning, I think we'll wake up to temperatures in the 40s by about 7 o'clock just after dawn. So some pretty chilly weather coming our way. Check out these dew point values. This is the amount of moisture that's contained in the air. Dew points in the 70s, summer-like. Dew points in the 60s, comfortable. The low 60s, that's comfortable. 50s feels pretty good. 40s starts to feel dry for some people. But 25 in Tallahassee, that's desert-like. Pensacola, 27. Jacksonville, 28. And that's all being pushed southward. So our dew point values may actually drop a little bit more before they start to rise again as we head into the weekend. And the reason for that is our winds right now are kind of out of the northwest, so they are coming in a little bit over Gulf waters. But I think with time, we'll start to see a more northerly turn to those winds. And when that happens, some of that drier dew point air may briefly move into the area. Radar, as you saw, was absolutely clean of any echoes. We got some cloud cover around, too, caused higher level clouds streaming in from the west. And then we've got some locally grown clouds caused by the colder air going over the warmer Gulf waters. We'll see a few of those maybe sinking in just from our north across the region. But again, none of these contain anything in the way of any kind of rain showers. The nor'easter continues to drive away. The high pressure ridge continues to build in. The combination of those two providing us with our breezy winds today. Another system back to the west will slowly advance in our direction and help to enhance our rainfall chances as we get into the weekend. We'll watch those winds subside a little bit as we head into tomorrow and high pressure builds in over the state of Florida. But for today, lots of sunshine. A very cool night ahead. And then we'll watch that next system back to the west provide us with a chance of some rain this weekend. Also a little bit of energy from the Gulf moving eastward will help enhance that. Best chance of rain, though, I think will probably come on Monday. So here's your forecast. Looking for a northwest wind at about 10 to 15. We'll see tonight a 10 to 15 knot wind. 2 to 4 foot seas, choppy on your bay and inland waters. Forecast looks like this. We'll look for a daytime high that tops out at 65 today, 68 tomorrow. Saturday, a chance of a shower or two, about 20%, but on Sunday, excellent chances of rainfall. We'll call it a first alert weather day that may carry over into Monday. And then as we see clearing take place on Monday, we'll look for temperatures that hover around 73 or so, dropping down into the 60s midweek. Back to you.
John, thank you. New at noon, another proposed buyout at the health services industry. Insurer Cigna will spend about $52 billion to acquire the pharmacy benefits manager Express Scripts. The acquisition would allow a deal late last year of CVS wanting to spend $70 billion for Aetna. The health sector has been jolted recently by these buyouts, the Affordable Care Act, and the potential arrival of the ultimate disruptor, Amazon.com. You've probably noticed all the pollen around coating your cars lately. Well, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 50 million Americans suffer from allergies each year. So to help limit your exposure to these allergens, don't use a feather duster to clean your house. Use a wet paper towel instead. Make sure your houseplants aren't pollinating. Exercise at the right time of day, and then be sure to check the daily pollen count before planning any outdoor activities. Well, these days, more women are realizing just how important it is to get breast cancer screenings. But should it be different for women of color? As ABC's Kenneth Bowden explains, new research says yes.
The average woman in America should get her first mammogram at the age of 50. That is, if she has no family history of breast or ovarian cancer. But America is a melting pot, and different ethnicities come with different risks for disease. So should their screening guidelines differ as well? Researchers in healthcare and policy development at Mass General and Harvard Medical School looked at medical records for almost 750,000 breast cancer cases between 1973 and 2010, finding more non-white women diagnosed with breast cancer younger than 50 and with more advanced disease than white women. Researchers recommend that screening should begin at age 47 for Black and Asian women and 46 for Hispanic women.
Cancer statistics on hundreds of thousands of women over 37 years speak pretty loudly, and they seem to be saying that in breast cancer, some women should be screened earlier than others. With this Medical Minute, I'm Kenneth Moten, ABC News.
Well, the first one was so successful, the second race across the Fort Hamer Bridge will happen again this year. Earlier this week, Manatee County Commissioners approved a request from the Parish Foundation to close the bridge for a fundraising run in September. More than 2,500 people took part in the inaugural run last August before the bridge officially opened. It raised nearly $70,000 for Manatee County Youth Rowing, the YMCA Parish Branch, and the Parish Foundation. A date has not yet been set for this second run. Time now to head over to the kitchen where JR from JR's Packing House Cafe in Sarasota is with us today. JR, good to see you back in the kitchen. What are you cooking for us today?
Today we're making Easter Cuban dinner. We're making pork, we're making yuca, we're going to make some sofrito for the black beans and rice, and we're going to have some plantains later on, all very low calorie.
Sounds delicious. See you in a little bit. Thanks, JR.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7.
We're doing tariffs on steel. We cannot lose our steel industry. It's a fraction of what it once was. And we can't lose our aluminum industry. Also a fraction of what it once was.
President Trump wants to put tariffs on steel and aluminum. Is this the beginning of a trade war? I'm Alan Cohn. We won't tax you if you meet me at the trapezoid.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC 7, weekdays starting at 5.
Today marks the 4-year anniversary since the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. The plane went missing in 2014 with more than 200 people on board. Australia, China, and Malaysia each spent together about $150 million searching for that plane. Now a private U.S. group is continuing the effort. The company Ocean Infinity says it will look for the plane in areas never searched before. Nearly 7 months ago, journalist Kim Wall boarded a submarine for a story, but she never made it back home. And now the man accused of killing her will take the stand. Kim Wall's body washed ashore in August of last year, 10 days after she was reported missing. Now, Peter Rocket Madsen, an inventor from Denmark, is on trial for her murder. Madsen was working on a project about the world's largest privately built submarines and invited Wall aboard, and that was the last time she was seen alive. Madsen is charged with murder, sexual relations, and indecent handling of a corpse. Now to what may be the answer to an 80-year mystery. An anthropology professor thinks he's finally discovered what really happened to Amelia Earhart, the pioneering pilot who vanished back in 1937. As ABC's David Wright shows us, there's new information surrounding skeletal remains.
Amelia Earhart and the Nicomororo Bones, a dry academic paper with a bombshell headline.
I am 99% sure that these bones belong to Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart was an aviation pioneer.
Setting out on the most dangerous aeronautic feat ever attempted.
First woman to fly solo across the Atlantic.
30 years, I've been very fortunate in the type of flying I've done, not to have more mishaps.
But in 1937, her Lockheed Electra disappeared without a trace. Some believe she crashed into the Pacific, somewhere in the vicinity of New Guinea. Others, including the History Channel, have investigated the theory that she and her navigator somehow managed to land on the Marshall Islands, only to be captured by the Japanese military on the eve of World War II.
You think this is Amelia Earhart?
That's right.
But Professor Richard Jantz doesn't buy that.
The Rosetta Stone that broke it open was our ability to actually measure Amelia Earhart's bones from photographs and from her trousers.
He measured her bones against the records of 13 human bones that turned up on the remote atoll of Nicomororo, also known as Gardner Island, a few years after her disappearance.
It's a mystery. It was an opportunity for me to go in and test a hypothesis. And I was prepared when I went into it to accept the idea that it was not her.
Mystery solved. We'll see. Back to the kitchen now. John is with JR from JR's Packing House Cafe. John?
And I'll tell you what, JR is cooking up a feast in here. This looks absolutely fantastic.
We're going to start with the pork leg. We're going to cut slits in it and put a boatload of cloves in there, whole, and then we're going to just douse it with some oregano and some seasoning mix. And in case you didn't have enough garlic, we're going to add more garlic to it. So we're just going to keep going with the garlic. So, and then it's going to turn out, and we're going to cover it, and you get to add some more, and there you go. A lot of salt, actually. And afterwards, we got a grate here. So we're going to spray the grate first so it doesn't stick, and cook it bottom side up first, then turn it over, and we're going to add our sugar water so it gets nice and crispy. So to this, we're going to add mojo and sour orange juice and a little sugar water later on, and we'll get the crispiness looking thing over here, and that'll be quite yummy. And if it'll look like this once you pull it out of the oven, upside down, and hopefully like this when we're done.
Now, you're cooking pork here, right?
Yes.
The name of this dish is what?
Pernil de puerco. I practiced that. Yeah, I practiced that.
Right,
yeah,
well,
I practiced
you
that.
said it very well.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if my aunt will agree. However, I faked it pretty good. So anyhow, we got some yuca here, which is, you've seen these at the store. This is what it looks like when you get them raw. And then you peel them like a potato, and you just boil them till they're tender. And hopefully there's some left over, and you can fry them later. So it's basically water, salt, and then afterwards we reduce, and we're going to add a little butter, a little more salt, and it's going to be nice and salty.
So it tastes like a potato, basically.
Basically, but no, we made mojo right here, which is the garlic and onion and olive oil, and again, the sour orange mix, and that's going to be served on the side, so you can add that to the pork or to the yuca. We leave that on the side in case people don't like it. Generally speaking, it's like barbecue sauce for us. I mean, it goes on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also brought plantains, so this is the green one. And what you do, peel it and you cube it, and you cut it into cube size like this, and then you fry it at 250 for a little while till it gets nice and brown.
Deep fried or just
deep fried
sauteed?
Or pan fried if you like, but deep fried is traditional. And then you smash. You use that fancy spray stuff so everything doesn't stick, and then it turns out like that afterwards.
I'll be darned.
And then in the meantime, we're also, since we're on this side of the plate, we're going to do some moto, which is right here, and we're mixing sofrito over here. So the moto, basically, we take in our dry black beans, we rinse them, we make sure there's nothing or non-black bean in there, and it's going to cook.
Like
now,
little stones or something like
that.
Yeah.
We don't want those in there.
Right.
Anyhow, this has more water than it normally would because we want the color to turn out like that. So it's traditionally it's called the moto, which is Moors and Christians, black and white mixed. And basically we just stick the rice in there, let it cook, and we'll take this sofrito we're cooking over here, which we got our bacon going, which is actually the primary base sauce to everything we make is a sofrito. So once you've got this down, you just take your bacon already, leave the bacon fat in there. Yes, it's very healthy for you, sure. And Now for the mojo, you make sliced onions, and for the sofrito, you'd make chopped onions. So that just cooks in there, and you can already smell it here. And once that goes a little bit longer and it gets a nice translucence to it, we're gonna probably skip the translucent part for timing. We'll add a little peppers. We'll add some bay leaves. We'll add some olive oil as needed, and the bay leaves, and the cilantro at the end though. And that basically does our Cuban style dinner. Once this is boiling, we reduce, get rid of some of the water, add more, and add a boatload of butter.
Well, it sounds absolutely fantastic. JR's Packing House, an institution on the Sun Coast. Go to mysuncoast.com, click on the dining button. It'll take you right there with all the video instructions that JR just provided. JR, thanks very much. Can't wait to tuck in.
Thank you.
Looks great. We'll be right back.
So Matt told me to meet him at 7 a.m. sharp right here. It is now 7:01 a.m. You think Matt would leave without me? Hey, is Matt here?
Long gone.
Long gone.
Just missed him.
Just missed him.
All done.
Mr. Sparky guarantees they're on time and the repair is free, so chop chop.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Matt, you started without me.
I finished without you, too.
Accolades are great. Just wait until you see our prices. Rugs as Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
It's time to take a road trip.
Alabama's got 100 road trips. And if you love the sun, you're gonna love Mobile, where Mardi Gras is king, and the accommodations will make you feel like royalty. You can take a little drive, explore Dauphin Island, or explore the past. We're talking the USS Alabama. Check out these big guns. Alabama's got 100 road trips. Plan yours at alabama.travel.
Which one you gonna take?
One of the motivating factors for me to become a Big Brother was that I was mentored as a youth. And it was important for me to kind of pass forward the things that were kind of given to me. It's really just as simple as getting to know a kid. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have any of those other things. You just have to be willing to spend a little time and help mold some young person's life.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 12:30.
Welcome back. More questions today about the Russia investigation and how it affects the staff of the White House. ABC's Tara Palmieri is in Washington with more.
Sources tell ABC News that President Trump asked two key witnesses in the Russia probe about their conversations with special counsel Robert Mueller. The New York Times first reported that in late December, Trump spoke with his former chief of staff, Reince Priebus, about his meeting with Mueller. He asked if Mueller had been nice and treated him fairly. President Trump also asked White House counsel Don McGahn about his testimony. While sources close to the president told ABC News that the conversations were friendly,
any lawyer advises someone in this kind of situation, be careful not to be seen as talking to, most importantly, interfering with, most importantly, trying to sway witnesses.
Priebus and McGann's attorneys declined to comment last night, and lawyers for the president did not respond to ABC News. Meanwhile, new developments overnight suggest that Mueller has evidence of an attempt during the transition to set up a back channel between Trump and the Russians. According to the Washington Post, Mueller is investigating George Nader, who set up a meeting between Eric Prince, a Trump associate, and a Russian businessman. The report says Nader, who represented the United Arab Emirates, told Mueller that he was at the meeting on an island off the coast of Africa just days before the inauguration. In a closed-door meeting with the House Intel Committee, Prince denied that he discussed setting up a back channel between the administration and the Russians.
Using Russian diplomatic facilities for a back channel would only be designed to hide those communications, not from the Russian government, but from our own government.
At the White House today, industry leaders and the president's own staff are waiting to see if the president signs a proclamation on tariffs for the steel and aluminum industry. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Washington.
If President Trump follows through with his proposed tariffs, the European Union will consider tariffs of its own. Those tariffs would be applied to essential American items like peanut butter, Kentucky bourbon, Florida orange juice, denim jeans, and motorcycles. The higher prices could drive down demand and hurt American producers. President Trump's Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross says the president is still flexible on the matter. The president will meet with video game industry representatives today. The White House says reps from software companies, a video game distributor, and an author of a book linking mass killings to violent video games are all invited to today's meeting. The president has repeatedly referenced the violence in movies and video games during his public comments about guns and school safety since last month's shooting in Parkland. But decades of research have failed to find any link. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is in Ethiopia at the start of a six-nation Africa tour. He's expected to try to repair relations following President Trump's alleged derogatory comment about African countries. During his visit, Tillerson said the answer to political turmoil in Ethiopia is greater freedoms, and the country's state of emergency should be lifted as quickly as possible. Women across Europe and Asia are shouting their demands for equality, respect, and empowerment today to mark International Women's Day. Protesters in Spain have launched a 24-hour strike, and crowds of demonstrators are filling the streets of Manila, Seoul, and New Delhi. The women are protesting the wage gap and gender violence. Similar rallies are being held across Asia, Africa, Afghanistan, South Korea, and India. McDonald's is turning its iconic gold arches upside down in honor of International Women's Day. The M's being flipped to W's. The fast food giant has already flipped the sign at its Linwood, California location, which is owned by a woman. Dozens of other locations will have special packaging with the inverted M, as well as employee hats and T-shirts as well. Wow. Pretty cool that they would do that.
Doesn't seem trivial to do that,
No,
does it?
No, not at all.
That's impressive.
All right, John Scalzi's back with some cooler weather today, but feels nice to me. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think so too. I love that kind of brisk wind. I love the dry air, and those temperatures are fantastic. Now I understand that some people might feel that's a little on the cool side today, but it'll warm up by the weekend, I think. So a couple more days of some chillier weather, some bracing, you know, kind of invigorating weather, we'll call it, and then I think we'll see a brief warm up before we cool down again, actually. So we're kind of on a temperature roller coaster ride a little bit here. Some fair weather cloudiness coming at us from time to time from Gulf waters. For the most part, we are not going to see anything in the way of any kind of rainfall across the entire state of Florida today. There's a few scattered showers in the very southern tip, but few and far between. Red flag warnings up for almost the entire peninsula today, and the temperatures will pretty much hold where they are right now. Maybe add a degree or two, but that's about it. 65 we'll go with as a daytime high by around 3 o'clock this afternoon. And then temperatures will start to fall off pretty quickly after sunset. Mix of clear skies and fair weather clouds, temperatures falling into the 50s. And then tomorrow morning when you wake up, it'll certainly be a little bit cooler than it was this morning by about another 10 degrees. So a chilly night coming your way. Be sure and protect those really sensitive plants, particularly if you live east of the interstate. You might want to bring in like potted orchids and things. Might want to bring those in tonight if you're east of the interstate. Complete forecast details, including a perhaps rainy weekend, coming up in just a few.
All right, John, thank you. Dramatic new drone video shows the Coastguard rushing to save a couple off Florida's east coast. They wound up stranded near West Palm Beach in rough waters. A photographer happened to be there and caught it all on camera. You can see the Coast Guard boat and a sheriff's office boat circling the couple and a surfer. They tossed in flotation device to pull them out. One person was taken to the hospital for treatment, but everyone else made it back to dry land okay. Sarasota County Sheriff's Office annual report is now out. It tracks crime, drug addiction, and public safety in the area. Highlights in that report include sheriff's deputies' approach during Hurricane Irma, the work their Animal Services Division has done, and the success of their community outreach and technology, along with the move into the new state-of-the-art facility off of Cattleman Road.
I think right now we're on the right track, and we look forward to 2018 to see how we can better serve this community, reduce those crime numbers even more, and continue to encourage people to come here, visit here, live here, and stay here. It's a great place to live.
You can check out the 2017 annual report by going to our website, mysuncoast.com, and looking for this story. And just a reminder, this afternoon you can load up on fresh fruits and vegetables at the special farmers market in Sarasota. You can visit vendors at the Rosemary Sunset Farmers Market at Cityside. This is led by the Sarasota Farmers Market and will be held every Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. through mid-April. You can find it in the Rosemary District at the intersection of Coconut Avenue and May Lane. It's similar to the weekly farmers market downtown on Saturdays with local produce, food, and music. Still to come in your Suncoast News, strange, spontaneous fits of laughter. Amazon is scrambling to fix a programming problem with Alexa. The story coming up.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC 7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
Florida Studio Theater presents Blue Suede Shoes, celebrating the birth of rock and roll. From the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, to the king himself, Elvis Presley, this musical review features such great hits as Rock Around the Clock, Mustang Sally, Johnny Be Good, and of course, Blue Suede Shoes. Critics are calling Blue Suede Shoes a burst of rock history, dynamic and high voltage. Audiences are calling it phenomenal. Blue Suede Shoes has been held over by popular demand. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting FloridaStudioTheater.org.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Current air temperature coming in at 61 degrees. We have 62 Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton coming in at 60, Parrish coming in at 60, and Inglewood at 62. A nice start to the day. Tomorrow will be a little bit of a colder start to the day, but our daytime high temperature will end up warmer than it will today. We're at 61 now, and we'll probably only add on another couple of degrees before we just kind of flatten it out at about 65. Dew point value at 43, very dry air in place. When you heat that 61-degree air, that relative humidity in your home becomes even greater than what we're showing right here at 52%. Drops down into the probably 40s, and depending on how warm you heat your home. And that could feel a little uncomfortable for some folks out there. I realize that. As we head into the weekend, that dew point value will start to rise a little bit. So I think your air, if you are suffering any problems with that heated air in your home, will become a little bit more comfortable. Northwest wind continues throughout the day today, keeping temperatures kind of flat in the mid-60s, 65 degrees we'll call it. And then as we head into the evening hours, we'll see those temperatures begin to fall off, though the winds will still be relatively breezy out there. And consequently, the rip current advisory for our area waterways will remain in effect, and it'll still be, you'll still see multiple instances, I think, of rip currents along west central Florida. There is not a lot of rainfall anywhere across the state. Southern tip, maybe a slight chance at a shower or two, but you have to go all the way down into the Keys before you even see that happen. And I'm talking just very brief showers. So basically a very dry state today. Higher level clouds streaming across very quickly, and then some lower level clouds grown by winds basically over the warmer waters, picking up some of that moisture, creating some lower level clouds, but none of them rain clouds at all. Big ridge of high pressure sits over the deep south. It's building in across the state of Florida. As it does that, it kind of does battle with that nor'easter that's continuing to move slowly away from the state, and that draws down that drier northwesterly wind flow for us today. Now, eventually, that high is going to scoot even closer to the state of Florida as it moves eastward and southeastward. That will cause our winds to subside a little bit by tomorrow. But for today, we're looking at lots of sunshine around, a cool night ahead, some might even say cold night ahead with temperatures in the upper 40s. And then rain this weekend as we have another little system that will advance. Wind forecast continues to show kind of an onshore wind flow, which is helping to be responsible for those rip currents that we're going to see, plus some surf action as well. And then as that high filters in, we'll start to see those wind speeds start to drop a little bit. Now, here's one computer model that shows you over time a little area of disturbed weather in the upper atmosphere will move across the state on Saturday into Sunday before high pressure once again builds in on Monday and provides us with a pretty nice beginning to next work week, I think. A little bit breezy on Monday, but plenty of sunshine around, I think, especially in the second half of the day. Northwest wind coming in at about 10 to 15, subsiding a little bit overnight, and I think tomorrow will be a better day for boating if you're itching to get out there on the water. Forecast looking like this today, 65. Nighttime low, though, chilly 48. Tomorrow, a tad bit warmer with a lot more sunshine. But again, another cool night at 52. We'll cloud it up a little bit on Saturday as that system approaches, starts to produce a chance of rain that lingers into Sunday with a 60% chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two. Monitoring for severe weather, but it's too early to tell you whether that'll happen. First alert weather day, though, just because of all the showers that may be around. And then as we head into next week, lots of sunshine, slightly cooler temperatures. Back to you.
John, thank you. In consumer news, Amazon keeps getting bigger. Amazon announcing plans to open a large packing and shipping facility in suburban St. Louis that will employ 1,500 full-time workers. The company is investing $175 million in the facility and will receive $11 million in state incentives. Amazon currently employs several hundred people at a sorting center in another St. Louis suburb, but this would be the company's first fulfillment center in the state. Some owners of Amazon Echo devices may be doing some double takes. Some Alexa users have reported that their devices have been randomly laughing, sometimes in the middle of the night. And that's not all. This gets a little creepy. Somebody tweeted that an Amazon Echo began listing the names of local funeral homes and cemeteries without any prompting. Amazon says it's aware of the issues and is trying to fix them. Facebook is investing $750 million over the next 5 years to build a huge data center outside of Atlanta. The social media giant's 9th U.S. data center will be built in Newton County. The center's 2 buildings will be powered exclusively with renewable energy. It's expected to create more than 100 full-time jobs and be fully operational by 2020. And Jaguar is showing off its first electric vehicle at the Geneva International Motor Show. It's called the I-Pace. It's an SUV that gets about 240 miles per charge and can produce up to 394 horsepower. Designers put the I-Pace's heavy battery under the floor between the front and back seats instead of under the hood, and that's why the SUV doesn't feature Jaguar's signature long front end. The I-Pace is expected to start in pricing at about $70,000. Good-looking vehicle, though. Still to come in your Suncoast News, the force is strong with this new sport. Thousands of people now getting in on some lightsaber action. We'll show you the bizarre competition coming up.
My name is Stephen Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in a car accident, the state of Florida only gives you a specific amount of time to file a claim. So act now, give us a call.
I just had a very educational ride with Nina.
Did you learn anything?
Where do I begin? So all this stuff goes into a safety check.
Yep.
It's a long list.
It's important stuff.
Test the smoke detector.
Yep.
Check the breaker box.
Yep.
Meter the GFCIs.
Ground fault circuit interrupters.
Why do that?
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Minnie, you make it look easy.
Thanks, but don't do it yourself.
Who's your guy?
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
The cast of ABC's hit show Modern Family is throwing its support behind the March for Our Lives movement. The actors are taking a dig at the NRA at the same time. The cast recently made a video to voice support for common sense gun laws and those fighting for it, particularly the students in Parkland, where the shooting last month left 17 people dead. March for Our Lives is set to take place in Washington and other sites across the country, including here on the Suncoast, on March 24th. The man accused of stealing Frances McDormand's Oscar appearing in court Wednesday. Authorities say Terry Bryant took the award while the actress was at the governor's ball, which took place just shortly after the ceremony. 47-year-old Bryant, who refers to himself as an entertainment journalist, pleaded not guilty to the theft. Bryant has a criminal past with previous arrests for theft, assault, and suspicion of trespassing. As for the current charge, it's hard to put a price tag on an Oscar.
Grand theft is solely based on what the perceived value is, but the court of law, it has to be proved to have that value, and a unique item like an Oscar statue is very difficult to prove that up.
McDormand was happily reunited with her Oscar. Meanwhile, Bryant could be sent to jail for up to 3 years if he's convicted. Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris, is making her big screen acting debut this weekend. This is a sneak peek at Paris Jackson's role in the new action comedy called Gringo. In the film, Paris convinces a friend to smuggle a synthetic cannabis pill out of Mexico. Gringo opens in theaters on Friday. Star Wars is no longer just a series of blockbuster movies. It's also becoming a popular sport, thanks to a group of superfans in Maple Grove, Minnesota. Once a week, members of the Saber Legion meet to show off their martial arts and lightsaber skills. They dress up in Star Wars gear and plenty of padding and have duels.
Adrenaline kicks in and it just takes you to the next level. It's very, very, very intense.
It's almost like there's an electricity. Your hair almost stands up on the back of your neck.
Terry Birnbaum started the International Combat Organization 3 years ago, and they now have close to 6,000 members worldwide. The urge to selfie is apparently more than just human nature. Some emperor penguins decided to look deeply into a camera when an expeditioner left it on the ice in Antarctica. In the video, you can hear the penguins making what can only be described as inquiring chirps. There they are, and then staring into the camera. Eventually, they'll look up and just start shaking their heads back and forth, a little dance. Of course, the Twitterverse is loving this short videos. The emperor penguins are the largest of the species, and they live and breed in one of the most inhospitable environments on the planet. They actually,
That's cute.
I think it's a better shot than that other one that was looking down the ice. Isn't that something?
That is something. I wonder how they attracted them to the camera, or if they just left the camera there and they were just curious.
They're amazing species. You know, when they lay eggs, the male and the females take turns standing on that egg to keep it warm in unbearably cold weather.
And a lot of them mate for life.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive. Yeah. The guys take care of the babies just as well as the ladies.
Have a great day, everyone.
Being the caregiver for someone you love is truly a blessing. But sometimes you can lose a part of yourself. To be your best, for them and for you, it's important to have time to be able to recharge your batteries. When you call Tidewell Hospice, they can give you a chance to do just that. And with the peace of mind of knowing your loved one is in the very best hands. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Loaded with big laughs, colorful characters, and the songs that made the 20s roar, Bullets Over Broadway is bringing musical theater back with a bang. Your attendance is requested at the Players Center for this wild Broadway musical opening February 21st. Call the Players at 365-2494 or visit the website at theplayers.org. This is one Broadway show that is sure to knock 'em dead.